Deion Sanders' bold Florida visit becomes game-changer for Shiloh Sanders as WWE star and Tampa fans rally behind Buccaneers rookie. In the high-stakes world of NFL training camps, every rep matters. Every interaction, every headline. But sometimes what happens off the field speaks louder than any drill or stat sheet. That's exactly what unfolded in Tampa Bay this week when Deion coach Prime Sanders, battling health challenges and far from his Colorado football responsibilities, made a surprise appearance at the Buccaneers training camp to support his son, rookie safety Shiloh Sanders. This wasn't just a father showing up for his kid. It was a moment that reverberated across the NFL, social media, and even into the heart of Tampa's community, with WWE legend Titus O'Neil joining the chorus of support. And just like that, Shiloh Sanders, the undrafted underdog with a famous name and a fierce chip on his shoulder, found himself at the center of one of the most powerful football stories of the offseason. A visit that meant more than football, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers shared the video of Deion Sanders walking onto their practice field, wearing his signature sunglasses and cracking jokes with head coach Todd Bowles. Fans took notice. But to those who followed Deion's journey, from Hall of Fame NFL cornerback to college football disruptor to a man now fighting persistent health setbacks, this wasn't just a casual stop. This was a statement. Just weeks earlier, Deion had been absent from much of Colorado's off-season work due to complications from past surgeries and lingering foot issues. He was recuperating at his Texas ranch, far from the sideline where he thrives. And yet, he pushed through the pain, hopped on a flight, and made his way to Tampa because his son needed him. Shiloh Sanders, 24, knew exactly what that moment meant. He posted a quiet yet powerful Instagram caption. Had to visit Tampa to see Shiloh, alongside heartwarming photos with his father and brother. No lengthy post needed. Anyone who understands the Sanders family dynamic or Deion's ongoing health battle could read between the lines. This was sacrifice. This was love. And in the cutthroat environment of NFL training camp, it was also the kind of personal momentum that separates the overlooked from the unforgettable. Todd Bowles keeps it cool, but knows the impact. Coach Todd Bowles, always the steady hand at the helm of the Bucs, didn't make a show of the high-profile visitor, but he didn't have to. A normal day for me, as far as I'm concerned, Bowles said when asked by reporters about Deion's appearance. It's a father coming to see his son, like all of us would be doing. But behind the composed response lay an unspoken truth. NFL locker rooms thrive on respect, and when a legend like Coach Prime walks in, people take notice. That presence, that legacy, it elevates the moment. It elevates the players. And for Shiloh Sanders, it gave him an undeniable edge in a crowded fight for a roster spot. As one Buccaneers staffer put it anonymously, when Deion shows up, everyone stands a little taller, including his son. WWE superstar Titus O'Neil joins the chorus. Just when you thought the Sanders family support couldn't get any bigger, enter WWE legend Titus O'Neil. Known in Tampa not only as a pro wrestling icon but as a philanthropic community figure, O'Neil rolled out the red carpet on social media for Coach Prime and his son. Thanks for coming into at Bull in Tampa today, Titus wrote on Instagram, posting a picture alongside Deion. It was great to catch up with you. Looking forward to having at Shiloh Sanders back in as well. Keep being amazing and I'll see you in Colorado this season. This wasn't just a celebrity shout-out. It was Tampa's heart welcoming the Sanders family. A powerful community endorsement that means more than a stat line. Suddenly, Shiloh wasn't just another undrafted rookie fighting for relevance. He was Tampa's guy. And in the NFL, especially for players on the fringe, public support can translate to staying power when roster cuts come around. Deion's health update. I'm already back. While the headlines focused on Deion's visit to Shiloh, Coach Prime also took a moment to address his health in an interview with ESPN. His tone? Vintage Prime. Confident, charismatic, and unfazed. I'm already back. I'm here today, and I'm handling my responsibilities, he said, reassuring fans and critics alike that he's not stepping back from his duties at Colorado. I can't wait. You've got to understand, some of the young players, I haven't even met yet. I'm so excited about that. Deion also thanked longtime supporters like Michael Irvin and Big 12 executives who stood by him during his recovery. But make no mistake, his priority in that moment was his son. Family first, he often says, and showing up in Florida proved it once again. Shiloh Sanders. From overlooked to overachiever, Shiloh's journey to this moment wasn't paved in gold, despite his last name. A three-star recruit out of high school, he began his college career at South Carolina, where he sat behind more heralded names. He then transferred to Jackson State, where he became a defensive force in the FCS, earning attention for both his tackling ability and football IQ. But the NFL didn't bite. No combine invite, no draft day calls, just silence. So Shilo did what he's always done. He went to work. He followed his father to Colorado, where he recorded 137 tackles over 2 seasons and led the Buffalo's secondary during one of the most media-saturated years in program history. Still, when draft weekend came and went, his phone stayed quiet until the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rang. They offered him a shot, and that was all he needed. Tampa Bay, a city of opportunity. The Buccaneers' defensive backfield is no easy place to crack. All-Pro Antoine Winfield Jr. commands the unit. Zion McCullum, Christian Izien, and others are already fighting for snaps. But Shilo knows his best path to the 53-man roster is through special teams, and showing coaches he can be a versatile vocal presence. The Bucs was the first team to call, and they gave me a chance before anyone, Shilo said with clear gratitude. I'm just going to do everything in my power to help this team win. And it's not just talk. Head coach Todd Bowles has taken note. You can hear him today, making calls and everything, Bowles shared with ESPN. But you have to make plays in pads. That's what it comes down to. Shiloh's intangibles. Leadership, swagger, and that famous DNA. What makes Shilo stand out isn't just his stats or highlights. It's the intangibles, the energy, the confidence, and the leadership he brings to the field. Much like his father, Shilo has a vocal presence and an infectious swagger that energizes teammates. Those qualities matter in training camp battles where mental toughness often separates the survivors from the cuts. And having Deion Sanders as a father, that helps too. Not just because of the name, but because of the mindset. Coach Prime has always taught his children to bet on themselves, to embrace adversity, and to rise above doubt. And Shilo is the living embodiment of that philosophy. Community support could be the X factor. In a city like Tampa, where community and sports intersect so deeply, local support can tip the scales for fringe players. And thanks to Deion's visit and Titus O'Neil's endorsement, Shilo is already building that connection. He's got the whole city behind him now, one Bucs beat reporter noted. That doesn't guarantee a roster spot, but it definitely makes you harder to cut. Final push for a dream. As the Buccaneers ramp up their preseason schedule, every practice, every rep, and every meeting carries immense weight for Shiloh Sanders. He knows the odds. He knows the business. But he also knows something many other rookies don't: how to shine when the lights are brightest. After all, he grew up in the primetime spotlight. Now he's carving out his own lane, one padded tackle, one special teams rep, one day at a time. And behind him stands a father who believed enough to make a painful journey to show his love in person. A WWE superstar who sees greatness in the making, and a city that's suddenly saying, "This kid belongs." Conclusion: more than a name, it's a movement. For all the talk about Deion Sanders' legendary career or his larger-than-life personality, it's his ability to inspire, not just fans, but his own children, that stands as his greatest legacy. And for Shiloh Sanders, this week wasn't just a boost to his NFL campaign. It was a moment that defined what it means to be a Sanders. Loyal, resilient, unapologetically bold. Now the question isn't whether Shilo will survive training camp. It's whether the Buccaneers can afford to let him go. Jerry Jones' iron grip threatens Cowboys' future as roster battles for unity in tumultuous 2025. It's been 36 years since Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys, a franchise once synonymous with dominance and discipline. Since 1989, he has served as both owner and general manager, an unusual dual role in modern professional sports, especially for a team as high-profile as America's team. But in all that time, even through decades of playoff disappointments, locker room controversies, and media scrutiny, one thing has remained unchanged. Jones refuses to relinquish power. Now, in 2025, after another underwhelming season, and with an off-season that resembled more reality television than football strategy, questions surrounding Jones' overbearing presence are boiling over once again. This time, the stakes are different. This time, his decisions are shaking the very core of the organization, risking the unity of a roster that, on paper, is one of the most talented in the league. So, what happens when a billionaire's unchecked ambition overshadows football logic? According to insiders, former players, and football pundits, the Dallas Cowboys may be about to find out. Again. A fraction of a second. Jones on stepping down. In a recent interview with Fox 4 News, Jerry Jones was asked a question that's been whispered by fans and shouted by analysts for years. Has he ever considered stepping down as general manager? Jones' response was emblematic of his reign, deflective yet telling. Momentarily, small fractions of seconds, he quipped, a grin on his face. That grin, however, is beginning to wear thin in Dallas. His refusal to delegate football operations, despite decades of inconsistent results, has left fans and insiders questioning whether the Cowboys can ever achieve their former glory with him in control. In essence, the Cowboys' greatest adversary might not be the Philadelphia Eagles or San Francisco 49ers. It might be the man in the suite. The coaching conundrum, Schottenheimer's unlikely rise. After a disappointing 9-8 campaign in 2024 that failed to result in a playoff berth, the Cowboys parted ways with head coach Mike McCarthy. The decision was expected. What came next, however, left much of the NFL community stunned. In a coaching landscape filled with qualified candidates, including former Cowboys legends like Deion Sanders and Jason Witten, Jones bypassed all of them. Instead, he elevated offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, an NFL veteran with no head coaching experience and no active interest from other teams, to the head coaching position. The move was classic Jerry. No search committee, no national interviews, just Jones doing what Jones does best, pulling strings behind the scenes. Colin Cowherd, host of The Herd, didn't hold back in his criticism. "We are watching the fall of a great American institution," he said. "He's not even interviewing for other jobs. Never been a head coach, but Jerry Jones likes him." The national backlash was swift. The core concern wasn't just Schottenheimer's lack of credentials. It was what his appointment represented, a broken infrastructure where decisions are made not through collaboration, but through the whims of a single man. Mark Schlereth, flows downhill. Former NFL lineman and current analyst Mark Schlereth offered a powerful analogy on his podcast, The Stinkin' Truth. Football team hierarchy functions similar to plumbing, Schlereth said. If the owner does stupid stuff that creates animosity within the organization, what's the likelihood of you actually listening to the coach? Schlereth's comparison might have raised eyebrows, but it struck a chord. The Cowboys' issues aren't rooted in player talent or coaching incompetence. They're structural. When a team sees its owner undercutting the coaching staff, respect erodes. Authority becomes performative, and unity crumbles. Schlereth recounted his own early days as a plumber's apprentice. Flows downhill, he said. And in Dallas, it starts at the top. Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons. Collateral damage? Perhaps no players have been caught in Jones' web more than quarterback Dak Prescott and linebacker Micah Parsons. Prescott's 2024 campaign was riddled with injuries, limiting him to just 8 games. He finished with 1,978 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Not terrible numbers considering the circumstances. But instead of sympathy or strategic adjustments, he reportedly received heat from the very top. Not for poor play, but for getting hurt. Similarly, Micah Parsons, widely regarded as one of the league's most dynamic defensive stars, has expressed visible frustration in press conferences about the lack of cohesion between coaching and upper management. The message from Jones has become clear. Even the team's brightest stars aren't safe from critique if they don't align with his vision. The facade of strength, Dallas roster looks good on paper. Despite the turmoil above, the Cowboys roster remains one of the most formidable in the NFC. Analysts and former players alike agree. Dallas knows how to draft. Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Smith, all blue-chip talents selected in recent years. And in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cowboys may have struck gold again with Alabama guard Tyler Booker and explosive edge rusher Donovan Ezeruaku. The way they've built, they are pretty good, Schlereth conceded on his podcast. From a drafting perspective, Dallas is top tier. Indeed, if the NFL were based solely on talent acquisition, Dallas would be perennial contenders. But football isn't played in a spreadsheet. It's played in the locker room, in the trenches, and on the sideline. And that's where Dallas struggles. The leadership gap. Who really runs the team? Dak Prescott may wear the C on his jersey and Brian Schottenheimer may carry the play sheet. But in the minds of many within and outside the organization, there's no doubt who's calling the shots. Jerry Jones? This perception is toxic. When players think the owner has more say than the coach, one former Cowboy anonymously told The Athletic, they stop listening to the headset and start listening to the headlines. It's an environment ripe for confusion and resentment. Coaches are expected to lead, but how can they when their authority is routinely bypassed? When roster decisions, play-calling preferences, and disciplinary matters all funnel through the owner's box. The NFL is a league of narrow margins. Culture matters, and right now, the Cowboys' culture feels fractured. 2025 outlook: hope or havoc? Looking ahead to the 2025 season, the Cowboys find themselves at a crossroads. They have the pieces, the talent, the experience. But do they have the system? With Schottenheimer at the helm and Jones looming overhead, the Cowboys risk entering another season with too many chefs in the kitchen, and only one of them qualified to cook. If Jones begins issuing mid-season suggestions from his suite, as many insiders expect, the effects could be disastrous. Even the most talented locker rooms can't survive a leadership vacuum. What needs to change? For Dallas to reclaim its legacy and re-enter the Super Bowl conversation, the answer is simple but unlikely. Jerry Jones needs to step back. He needs to trust the infrastructure he built, empower the coaches he hires, allow the players to develop under a consistent, unified voice. Will he? History suggests otherwise. Jones has thrived on being the center of attention. For better or worse, the Cowboys brand is intertwined with his own. To walk away from that spotlight, especially as he nears 83, is a tough ask. But if he truly cares about bringing another Lombardi trophy to Dallas, it may be the only path forward. Final thoughts. A legacy at stake. Jerry Jones is a Hall of Fame owner. No one disputes that. His contributions to the NFL, both financially and culturally, are enormous. He turned the Cowboys into a global brand, revolutionized television rights, and helped make the NFL a multi-billion-dollar juggernaut. But legacies are fragile. And in Dallas, the narrative is shifting. From visionary to obstacle. From builder to bottleneck. Fans are no longer asking when the Cowboys will win another Super Bowl. They're asking if they ever will with Jerry in charge. And that, perhaps, is the most damning question of all.